4, 3.
We'll do it live!
Now we're live! Erin Kennedy. The general craziness of it, the impact on your life.
We have gone through so many stories and we said, you know what? This should not be kept to the two of us. Hi.
Erin, I'm doing well. How are you today?
That is not a good TV news voice.
No, that was horrible. But that's what people do when they first start in the business. Am I right? Thank you very much. Back to you, Martha.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I could talk to you everything. Yeah. So if I were to critique you too, this was something that I learned early. Never hold your mic like this because it looks terrible. You have to hold it casually and almost at an angle. You know, we're all relaxed here. We're just talking.
Right. We're all just friends. Never do
Okay.
this.
So we're talking about the TV. Oh, please like and subscribe to Broken News with Erin and Megan. You can find us every Friday at noon. We really appreciate you for watching. Thank you.
Thank you. I heard the voice there.
Don't forget to hold. So whenever you finish talking, you still have to hold.
Wait and wait and wait because they never cut the camera away from you right away. I have before done this.
We all have. But no, now you're used to hold.
100.
How about when the producers don't tell you clear?
I stay there.
I think I'll usually give them like maybe 4 holds and then I'm done.
Well, 4 blinks, you mean, by the way. That's when she's saying hold. It's really like,
Hold.
you're really kind of counting your blink. At least I was. But
Yeah.
like, here's another thing that happens. And then we're going to launch into the TV voice. That whole crap. I never even really did it. But I will say that when sometimes you see reporters and they're in that like Brady Bunch box thing, you know, double box, quadruple box, octuple box, whatever it is. Usually you record that beforehand. So they're like, hey, we're going to need a look live. So you literally just stand on the street like this.
And Megan, what's it called when you do that?
A look live?
Nope.
What?
Your bobblehead.
Bobblehead. Because you cannot just do this.
Right. So, because they're talking, so they're going
to
to say, so yes, let's say it's a weather event. And so Megan Glaros is live in Washington, Illinois with coverage of the tornado that happened. We have Bob, who is live at the jail with people who are overnighting there because they lost their homes. So yes, you have to feed in a bobblehead, that is what it's called. We need a 30-second bobblehead. We need a 45-second bobblehead.
I'm doing it right now.
So now, Megan, I want to see your serious bobblehead.
Oh. That is always hard for me.
Okay,
hold on.
light bobblehead then first. Do you want to do that first? Okay.
Well, now say something and I'll do it.
Okay, so this is a tornado that has hit down in Washington, Illinois. Megan Glaros is going to have team coverage, part of our team coverage, to tell us about what happened over. Megan, I know you're a professional. You played one on TV.
I did it enough. But like literally, you would just go. Like you need a bit of a pensive head twist tilt thing. And then like kind of you want to look a little bit sad and like really
Now let's just again though, to explain what this is. Megan is recording this without hearing anything though. You know what the story is. You know what you're feeding your bobblehead back for, but you have no idea what's going to be said. So if you know the tone, that will dictate your bobblehead.
Yes. Like here would be my bobblehead about a serious tornado. Right? Like that.
Okay. Now your bobblehead about something light, giving away your NOAA weather radios at, Walmart. I think I'm breaking you, but yes, that is good.
That's it. Like that's literally probably though what I did. I always felt like such an idiot doing that. You're like,
all right, here's my serious bobblehead.
okay, Erin. Yeah. Oh, that was good.
You got to break eye contact at some point, otherwise it's
you have
creepy.
to break the eye contact. Yeah.
Okay, and here's my lighter one.
Oh, your lighter's. Oh, you did. You pulled the teeth out. Okay. I was like, is she gonna? Oh, yes. That's so good, Erin. Here's another thing that you do sometimes.
Finally honed talents you can never use ever
How
again
about-
in your entire life.
How about this? How about this? And then later, what we're going to find basically is that the government has decided, and meanwhile, nothing is on this paper. Have you done that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, like you mean you're referencing your notes where there's nothing there? Yes.
Usually my note was literally like something like this. Like a smiley face or whatever.
Don't mess it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to start at the beginning. When I started out in TV news, I was 18 because I graduated college. Right? No.
That's
I'm
when you
sorry,
graduated
guys.
high school,
Oh,
Erin.
okay. I'm sorry. I was wrong.
It's like, damn, you're smart.
No, I was 20. I'm sorry. I was 20.
20.
21,
Erin. You were 21.
21, yes, because I was able to drink. I was 21 in my first job. But you go through these periods, we've said this many, many times, where you feel like you need to be grown up to be taken seriously on the news. Because, of course, if you're getting your news from a 21-year-old who's just out of college, and I'm talking to you about your mortgage rates when I don't even know what a mortgage rate is, you're not going to believe me, right? So kind of figuring out that authoritative voice where I believe in what I'm saying and you're going to have to believe in what I'm saying because I'm saying it with authority and confidence.
And that voice is never natural, by the way, for the record.
Right.
Later, as you have more life experience and more experience on TV, you can adopt a voice that just is like a little bit louder and a little more authoritative. But I feel like the people who are really good, the voice is not that different. Yeah, like it's different, but it's still them. It's not like a total act, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Because we've all done the total act thing, and it's so weird.
But this was very helpful. One of the few consultants, shouldn't say few, one of the consultants who was actually quite helpful. She came in with a literal tape recorder. I mean, that goes to show how old I was back in the day.
14 when she started in TV.
1900s. So she came with a tape recorder.
1912. Go ahead.
But so I found out I was talking up here. Right. So when you're younger, you kind of talk at the top.
You just talk like this. Oh my God, you guys.
And this is when I start getting nervous, my voice starts going up here. So this was a conscious effort to move my voice down. And she helped me find that bass, which is when the doctor puts a tongue depressor in your mouth and you say, ah.
Yeah.
So that helped me.
I never really had that. Because I wasn't just sitting there like anchoring like you were. Okay. So like for me, it was weather. You can have a little bit more freedom and stuff. But for me, the thing that was always crazy is when you get, that feeling when you get nervous, like all of a sudden, either you're making too much spit or you're not making enough. And then like you choke on it a little bit. There is nothing worse because it is in that moment when you want to be doing your best, but you're like, I can't swallow my spit. Like, what? They toss to me. Is it going to come out? Like how many times have you, that, and I'll be honest, when that stopped happening for me, I was like, woof. The challenge is gone. This is too easy now because now I don't even feel like I'm going to choke on my spit anymore. Yeah.
Okay. So let's hop into when you interviewed someone who's kind of well-known.
Yeah. So let me set the stage here. Okay.
Set the stage.
I was working at CBS Chicago. CBS Network needed someone to go interview President Obama about climate change.
Heard of him? Mm-hmm.
Yes. While he was in the office at the White House, in DC, in the Rose Garden. Like it was like intense. Now, the reason that they could not send like Nora or somebody like that to do it, even though I'm sure ideally that would have been what they would have done, is because the White House said only meteorologists are allowed to come to this interview. So you can't send Nora and you can't send Gail and you can't send, you can't send David Bagno. You had to send a meteorologist. So,
but I'm going to ask what everybody is wondering. Why you, Megan, from Chicago?
Okay. So at the time I was doing a lot of weather for the network because they did not have a meteorologist on staff.
They didn't have an Al Roker.
They did not have an Al Roker, right? Because they were more of a mind that the local weather is more important than sort of the national picture at that moment. And there's a lot of, thought on either side of that. Like the local is really what's going to impact your daily life. The national now, especially with climate change, is going to tell a very big story about what's happening and the implications and all that stuff. But we weren't quite there yet. So at this time, I was doing the national weather for them. If it was really important and they needed someone to do it, I would step in and do it. So and by the way, that was like awesome for me. But then when I got that call to go interview President Obama, I was like, oh, okay. But when you do that, there are lots of things going on, okay? You have to go through security. You have to be in the press room, which is
submit your social security number.
It's a big deal,
And
okay?
didn't you also have to change your nail polish color? Am I remembering that correctly?
That. Oh, I probably just thought I needed to change my nail polish color.
Well,
it was
I didn't
pink.
mean Secret Service.
Well, it was hot pink with the green like tip. Like probably not ideal. Yeah. So I was like, let's go neutral, but let's go pro. But here's the issue then. Okay. So like this was the only opportunity to interview the president that they had in a while because he wasn't granting a whole lot of interviews. So it was like, yes, this is about climate change, but we also need you to ask some very important questions that are super pressing to the world right now. We need to know the president's opinion on those. And I was like, oh God.
Right. So again, Meghan's interview would have been for every CBS station across the nation to pick from so that those sound bites with President Obama could be used in every kind of local evening newscast. So you were probably getting some guidance as to what the questions should be.
Exactly. As I should have been. Yes, exactly. There needed to be guidance in that moment because if you've got 5 minutes with the president, you are going to ask one or two questions pertaining to the topic at hand, and there are bigger fish to fry. Okay. Climate change is a big pressing issue, but at the same time, this was when the schoolgirls had just been captured in Nigeria. We were wondering if the U.S. would send in special forces. Secretary Shinseki was about ready to have the drama that unfolded there at the VA. The pipeline, Keystone Pipeline, like all this stuff was coming up. And it was like, there was big discussion about what questions should be asked. Like, and this was very important. And I, though, was to be the conduit of this. And I felt fine about asking the questions. I felt confident in what I was doing. I understood what I was doing. I understood the assignment, like that whole thing. But
is that a song?
Yeah.
I'm not cool enough. I'm sorry.
Oh, God. Okay. But then when you step out there and there's like Secret Service and literally President Obama, me, my crew that I had, 15 people or something behind you, and you're like,
now isn't every other media outlet probably there as well? Which I always like, that always kind of got like, you know, that they're listening to you and your questions and saying like, oh my gosh, that was a terrible question.
Yes. There is something to that too of like, you know, everyone's listening. I also felt a lot of pressure because I didn't want to let the network down, like, I needed to feel the room on the questions and ask him the ones that I felt like we might have the best chance at getting answered. And that was kind of up to me in that moment because I was the only one there and there was no IFB, you know what I mean? So it was like, I feel like I did a good job, but it was stressful. So my point is I get over there and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to choke up my spit. Like for sure. Like, you know, and you start to like go, oh God, that's the last thing I want to do. Because then they're going to know I'm nervous and he's going to know I'm nervous and the Secret Service is going to know I'm nervous. Like thankfully, President Obama was so cool. So like, I said something about Chicago. We started talking about Chicago while they were miking him up. And then I was fine. Okay. Then I was fine. But those few moments when I'm standing in like the waiting area, which was like a little greenhouse before you walk out and you could see everybody there. And I was like, oh my God. Like one of those moments, right? Like you're sweating and you're like, oh yeah.
Okay. So press play. Yes.
Sure. Go.
Okay, let me pull this guy up.
And so I would have been trying to be really serious here.
Yeah. Climate data. climate in general, climate change, can be such a partisan issue. There's now bipartisan support for the Keystone Pipeline. They're claiming energy efficiency. So in the light of all this data coming in with the new report talking about carbon emissions, are you more on board or are you more concerned at this point?
Well, the climate assessment plan was done over the
I gotta say, that sounds like what I would call my friendly Megan voice.
Okay, so that's what happened. That's what happened, Erin. And while I'm talking, go ahead and dig up another one, which would have been probably like the actual hit if you can find it. Okay, so that was just a clip of the interview. Then there should be like maybe for the local or whatever. Okay, so once I got there, all the nervousness went away and I felt okay about it. Like I had prepped well enough. I knew my questions well enough. He was nice. And then I was fine. So that's what I mean. Like I never really had to have too much of a Megan voice, like to a certain degree. Like it was there, but it didn't have to be like crazy. But I think when I do like intro my piece and all that stuff, then I was trying to be like super serious. Why?
Okay.
Because
well, Megan, I mean, this is poor direction here. You should have told me this before I found this clip.
Okay, go back. Can you
Well,
do
you
it?
want me to here's another one with you talking.
Climate change is something that I think a lot of people don't put as a top priority. How do you
No,
change
this
that?
is regular
Well,
interview, Megan.
hopefully.
Okay.
Go back, I'll show you. That's regular interview, Megan. Okay, so while Erin's looking for it, it would be the hit for local.
Okay.
That one. Okay, so like after you do your piece and then they put it together and it's a piece and whatever. Okay, what happens then is you go to this spot that they have set up for every
Come
network.
experience Flora Decor's
Like-
grand opening in Maple Grove.
Sorry.
It's like lit beautifully and you stand there, but like you're standing there and then like NBC's there and Fox is there and this is here and this is here. And so like you might be standing next to Major Garrett doing his hit or like these big people who are so intense at what they're doing and so good at what they're doing. And then you feel more out of your element.
All right, I got it. And my little Megan is in a jacket.
Did I wear a jacket? I did. Watch how serious I am here. Ready? Sorry. Did you see the
And what
bobblehead?
he thinks needs to be done about it. And she joins us now. Megan, good morning.
Good morning, Chris and Roseanne. It is such a comprehensive report. It was 4 years in the making. It's 800 pages long. And what it aims to do is inform the American public about the science that the administration supports in regard to climate change, what it means for all of us and for specific areas of the country. But there is a bit of a pushback from certain elements of the population who either don't believe it's happening or who are simply just not interested. I asked President Obama about that very thing just yesterday.
There are things we can do about it.
Do you hear it a
Megan,
little bit more?
you are so beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Erin. But like now with my devil hooks.
You clean up good. That's all that needs to happen.
Yeah.
So,
Well, when you have network makeup.
oh, they were
and
doing your
network-
makeup. That's cool. Yeah, you look great.
Yeah, they did my hair and makeup. Please, when I was doing that network stuff, girl, they make sure you look good.
Well, but you were doing that one. I guess I was assuming it was for local.
Nope, I
so-
was there for CBS this morning and then doing some stuff for the local.
Mhm.
Anyway, my point is the challenge is not to make the anchor voice, but sometimes it's so hard, you know? All right, let's see yours.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Yeah, I have my old resume stuff still up on YouTube simply because that was the best place to store it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So let's find Erin Kennedy's. And this
So,
was
yeah.
from, yes, this was recent. This must have been like immediately post baby. I think that this was
Which
at
baby?
the very beginning of COVID. This was Conrad.
Okay.
Each day, something he's done for the last 37 years. You can tell, right? 33 of those years as choir director. You guys sound beautiful. All right, don't forget to follow CBS Chicago on social media and get local news updates anytime on our new local digital streaming network, CBSN Chicago. Your news at 6 starts now. The Rise Up New York
I
City.
heard it. Your news at
Benefit-
6 starts now.
Starts now.
Starts now.
So I felt like part of good coaching is learning how to not be pitch patterned. So pitch patterned is
don't know
when
what
you
that
read
means.
every sentence has the same beginning and ending.
Oh, okay.
Nearly 70% of 65-year-olds will need long-term care services. That usually only lasts 1 to 2 years, but extended care could wipe out a couple's savings.
I
Okay?
get I get exactly
So,
what you're saying.
being able to hit that sentence, those sentences, and they're all unique and varied, like you talk, right? Like a conversation is also, like, oddly enough, a hard skill to learn, to read like how you talk.
It's really weird. And that's the thing. Like, again, I said before that weather people do not oftentimes have anything scripted. Okay. So, like, anytime I had to have something scripted, it was a new world for me. Like, normally, weather is the Wild West. So, often I would have a script and not use it particularly well. I would just change my own words and throw something else in there because it was easier. But I don't know. I think to me, the difference between when you're doing like awesome and when you're still not quite a pro is if you're doing all of this all the time and I wish you to know this now, or you can just say it, but you still have to use a better voice. Like, you still have to use a voice that's like stronger than what you would do in a normal life.
But you still know those people who have their news voice and their regular voice. And you're like,
Yeah, but people hear it too, don't you think? Like, I think if I'm watching the news and somebody's doing their anchor
but I
voice.
think an older generation, that doesn't bother them, right? I mean, because
Yeah.
it used to be back in the day when there was, still Walter Cronkite. I mean, he had an amazing voice, but I don't doubt that it was different from when you sat down and ate dinner with him, right? But it was more like it was your presentation and you were talking about the news and you are Walter Cronkite.
Right.
Whereas now, I mean, since we're all used to YouTube and everything else, we want it to be more conversational.
I agree. And I think, like, who to you are those first people who started cutting through that? Probably.
I don't know, but I can tell you who I always really liked her delivery was CNN Morning Express anchor Robin Meade.
Yeah.
Because she comes off as so genuine and accessible. You really feel like she's talking to you. And I feel like I'm kind of a weird parrot in that way. If I watch people who I feel like they're doing a really great job, I pick it up and I feel like I just start replicating it, which is why I cannot listen to people who are pitch patterned, because not only does it drive me bananas, but I feel like then I start doing it.
Yes, but I see it even literally, like, with my daughter. If she's spending a lot of time with, like, Lana, she'll go to gymnastics or whatever. If she's spending a lot of time with a new friend or a different coach or whatever, I start to hear things that sound like them. Like, when she was younger, she would laugh like an old coach of hers. That is not her laugh, but she was around that person often enough that she started to pick it up. And that's another reason why, when we were talking with Rob Johnson a few weeks back, or whenever you watch this, I don't know what order you're in. It's a really great episode if you haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, watch.
But I feel like if you're working with people who are really good at their job and they're like upping the game on being really genuine, talking like a person, speaking well, blah, 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 then you do the same thing, you know? But
no, it's almost like wearing a uniform. Everybody's going to kind of talk in a similar way, right?
yeah, but it
All right,
does.
I'm going to
totally
bust out
swing.
a news voice. And this is,
please
of
do
course,
it.
one of
Okay,
Matt's
okay.
books, because it's
Okay, good.
something with philosophy.
Oh,
Thomas
yeah, that's
Merton, New
not
Seeds of
yours.
Contemplation. Have I read this? No. Am I gonna? No, except for right now.
What is it?
New Seeds of Contemplation.
He would read that for real?
Yes. Reads.
I mean, I'm going to read a smutty romance novel and enjoy every second of it.
Oh my gosh, I have so many recommendations.
I'm
very
smutty
much
romance novels?
Yes, I'm very much into historical smut, so I can feel like I'm picking up a few nuggets of actual
Yeah.
history,
Yes.
but checking a few other boxes, if you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. Samesies. Yeah.
All right.
But I digress.
New Seeds of Contemplation seeks to awaken the dormant inner depths of the spirit, so long neglected by Western man, to nurture a deeply contemplative and mystical dimension in our spiritual lives. For Father Merton, every moment and every event of every man's life on earth plants something in his soul. I just read that cold, by the way.
Damn, Erin. You're so good. Should I read my tresemme? Did you like that?
Go from Seeds of Contemplation to Tresemme.
I'm not 100% sure I can. Okay. Are you ready? I'm
Right.
going to do my anchor voice because I never had one as a weather person. I just did my thing. But I did like let me do this real quick. Okay, so if it was like a weather day where it was beautiful, it would sound something like this. We have got a fantastic day on tap. Plenty of sunshine, lots of beautiful, nice light breezes. High temp, probably about 72. You guys are going to have the best day, like something like that. Okay, fine. But if it was a tornado, it would be a little bit more like this. We have some concerns today over the potential for severe weather for all of Chicagoland. That means by 5 o'clock this afternoon, we're going to have the possibility of tornadoes, severe thunderstorms, straight line winds. Like there's just more intensity to it. I feel like it's still me, but it's still like, okay, but let me do my anchor voice, Erin, even though I didn't ever have to have one. Okay, you ready? All right. This product will hold your style and make you feel in control of your hair all day long. America's #1 hairspray helps defend against frizz and flyaways with 24-hour humidity resistance. This water-free formula will give your hair the perfect amount of hold without the stickiness for that just left the salon. More I sound like I'm doing an ad.
But you do. I mean, I feel like I'm ready to like transition into voice acting, to be honest with you.
We'd be so good at it.
Okay, here's the last thing I'm going to say about this because I also feel like people who are watching these videos, Megans, not
All
the
of me.
plural, singular Megan. People who are kind of new in the business too, because I mean we've put in our hours and whatnot. I really believe
of
that
blood.
I became a better reader of the news after I became a mom, solely because I was reading bedtime stories all the gosh darn time, which helped me learn how to like sell and emote and, vary the language and vary the cadence and punch here and slow down here. Like if you're going to like read to a little kid and you want them to be scared or you want them to find it funny.
Yeah.
And so as soon as like that became part of my backbone, as far as like reading DNA was, I really feel like it brought my reading level to a new.
But I mean, there are other things. I can totally see that. Because you're probably reading every night to your kids,
Mm.
right? And you're trying
All
to
the
keep
time.
them. They're gonna call your
It's the
BS
only
if
time
they
they
think
sit
you're
still.
not
The
in it.
only time they sit still.
Uh-huh. Well, so like the other thing I always think is interesting because like I don't know how. I think I was fine at it, but I didn't read the prompter very often. But like, have you ever seen those anchors too, where you see this with their eyes as they're reading? Like, it's creepy. So, guys, you also, if you're reading a prompter, you have to like use your like wide angle vision instead of your words because
You
like
have
then
to
your
be able
eyes
to
are weird.
look at the screen. First of all, you have to know your copy well enough that you don't need to look at every word.
Yeah.
Or you know what's coming, or be confident enough that even if you miss a word, you're still going to be able to pick it up. But also, I was able to read like 8 words ahead. So while this word was coming out of my mouth, my eyes were here.
Yes.
So if it were a big blunder or typo or this or that, my
You
brain
catch it.
had 7 other words to try and figure it out.
And that's the thing, like, and that's the same thing, like, if you're doing the weather too, and I learned this way back when I was doing like ballet, where if you mess up, just keep going, if people probably didn't notice it at all. And I think that applies to ad-libbing too. So let's say you were saying something and something came out wrong. You shouldn't stop and go back and fix the word. You just keep going.
Mhm.
You just keep going, because it's going to come out better anyway.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I don't know. Like that, what do we do with those skills? It's so funny because it is a real reading on prompter is like a legit skill. Really. Yeah. Or
Did you
presenting
ever
something while acting like you're not presenting is another big skill.
Did you ever I had a couple markets where we would have a relationship with the local newspaper and the editor would pop on camera. Or I mean there's many other times where
Yeah.
people who are not TV people would come on and read. Oh boy.
Oh, yeah, it's bad. And that's why when they have, and this is interesting too. I didn't realize this until I had a bunch of friends who worked in LA, but they worked in TV news in LA. And the movie studios will always hire a reporter to play a reporter because actors who play reporters overdo this a little too much. You know what I mean? Whereas
Well,
like,
Lionel had a couple spots, didn't he? Where he
Sure.
played a news
Yeah.
person.
It's like it's a weird middle ground between acting and being natural and coming off as both authentic and somebody that you should listen to, authoritative, and it's like a weird blend. You have to find that good blend. And the people who find the good blend are successful. If you can, I also call BS on a lot of people who put on like their TV face, which is absolutely nothing like their real personality, because you can only hold on to that for so long before you're
I don't know what
done.
that means. What does that mean?
Like, haven't you worked with those people where they're really goofy, like fun, totally silly, whatever it may be, and then they get on TV and they're like, and now for the news, and I feel like it's not even just the voice, it's like they totally take on a whole new personality.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot do that. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot do that. I do not think you can do that. But
Yeah, well, yeah.
I attribute that to the reason I didn't choke on my spit during that Obama interview, to bring it back. Because
Thank you for bringing us full circle.
because you like that?
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to put on that voice and whatever, and I couldn't have just fallen back on just being Megan, it would have been a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like I was too nervous in that moment to be anything other than myself. Right. But if I was so used to being TV Megan, I would have been thinking about being TV Megan and that, and then you can't keep it up. You cannot do it.
Yeah.
Like that was probably, no, that was the coolest like work moment that I ever had. Like, I'm super thankful for that moment. And not that it plays into my life now at all in any way, but the ability to do something like that does, if that makes any sense.
No, I mean, that's super cool. Absolutely.
To like rise to that
Megan,
level.
I mean, it goes back to the fact there were so many reasons why we stayed in this toxic, abusive industry, right?
Yes.
There were
Because-
really cool moments.
Yeah.
You
I mean, I
guys
look
were
back at that and I'm
president.
like, damn, I did a great job. Like, I
Yeah.
was really good in that moment. Like, not to be cocky, but I did great.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I
you
mean?
did.
You look back at that and you think, yeah, I knew my stuff, or if I'll look at my reel or whatever. It was never the on-camera stuff. It was never even the challenge of the on-camera stuff. It was the other stuff that got in the way of the enjoyment. Like the having to give up family time, the having to feel like you are barely going to survive the rest of the day because you're exhausted. Like, it was never lack of love for the skills that we learned and the talent that we had. And
No,
even
yeah.
the way that we're presenting it, it is not a sustainable way to roll through your whole life.
If I could have a job where I were just doing the job of TV news, I would be doing that job.
Yeah. But like sleeping like a normal person, having
Right.
the weekends off, being able to leave and pick up your
Not
kid if
having
you
the
need
axe
to.
dangling over your head.
Yeah, because I can remember all that. But I can remember a couple times where like Lana was sick, but I was in the city and I could not leave. So I had to call my mom and beg her to go pick Lana up, or call our babysitter and beg her to go pick Lana up, or Willow or Leo up. And like, that breaks your heart a little bit.
Mhm.
And there's only so many times that you can get your heart broken by something before that fun stuff that you like doesn't feel like it's worth it
Mhm,
anymore,
mhm.
I think. But
All right.
Erin, it was so nice to see you today. I really thank you for your time.
Megan, I appreciate your insights today. That was really helpful as we go about planning our day. Thank you.
Yeah. Also, by the way, when I said before that I got in trouble for being too Megan, I think that's what they meant. Like, not putting on any of that voice and that tone and that whatever. It was just being natural. I don't think that was always appreciated.
Again, I think that might have been the fact that we were in the industry when it was very rapidly changing, because I feel like
Yes.
the conversational voice right now
Is different. I think you're right. It's different.
Yeah.
The transition from like Walter Cronkite to where we are today. And we were like smack dab in the middle of when it had been like that for so many years, and when it was transitioning and that was the rapid increase in YouTube and cable news and all the shows. Like, if you look at the cable news shows, those are not like a half an hour, sit down, tell the news, be done kind of thing. That was very much, you can be free, you can talk about, you have conversations. Like, that changed the narrative, I think, for the whole industry.
Mhm, mhm.
But you're right. We were at that time when it was like the old people, the old guard still wanted what they did and were used to. And there weren't too many new guard people left in management at that point yet. Maybe
And just to be clear, we very much want to speak with some of the old guard. We haven't, we're still getting our feet under us as far as due diligence. But yeah, so many people who we love and respect who saw wildly different newsrooms from what we did. You know,
Wow. I should try to call this guy that I worked with in Miami because he was there in the 80s in Miami when Miami was like the Wild West.
Please
and the
call him.
newsroom was
please call
crazier.
him. Yeah.
You just think about that stuff and it's like, oh my God, like those shows where they're like drinking in the newsroom and smoking in the newsroom. Yeah, that was real. Like that was for real happening.
Well, and then we will talk about too, I mean, how the 24/7 news cycle changed news radically, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just going to give a nutshell version now. News now is, this is what I see happening. This is what I know. Here's what I don't know. Whereas back in the day, you had your 5 o'clock news or your 6 o'clock news. You had all day for it. So it came to you as a perfectly composed pearl of, we know everything. Here it is.
Yes. This
Here's
is
my
what you need
story.
to know. Right. And I'm guessing there was less immediacy to the days of like Walter Cronkite, et cetera, et cetera. Like for them to break in to regular programming at that point would have taken an act of God or like the JFK assassination, that kind of thing. They broke in for.
They probably didn't even have a
Nowadays-
newsroom staffed.
Probably
Right?
not. And nowadays, like maybe the network doesn't break in for that much, but
No, they do. Well,
the net, if it's like CNN or something like that, they're constantly like
Yeah,
breaking news
right,
and they got to
yeah,
go with it
right,
like at that
right.
moment in that time.
breaking news,
that-
even though it happened yesterday. Yeah.
where, yeah, I mean, like, or they'll hear a little snippet of something and those anchors just got to get on and talk about that little snippet. It used to be that you would wait until you had enough of a larger snippet and it was a big enough deal, then you break in. Not so much anymore.
Because I'm going to get the alert on my phone.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
All right, let's put a pin in this, my friend.
We said we were going to do short.
We didn't.
No, we never do.
I knew you weren't gonna, you weather person. All right, please like and subscribe. Send us any questions and comments, right?
Yeah, next time I might do my hair if you want me to.
I do want you to because I don't recognize you otherwise.
This
All right.
is just, I mean, this is my regular Wadhams all day or day. I
That's
just
good
couldn't
though.
do it today. No, not really, but it's
We
fine.
know you clean up good. Say bye,
I
Megan.
can.
Bye.